The Pan-African Festival Panafest is a major celebration designed as a cultural forum to promote unity between Africans on the continent and in the diaspora, which is held in Ghana every other year. Having left Ghana as a small child, I decided that this would be the perfect opportunity for me to return home and at the same time regain some of my sense of belonging, which I feel has been somewhat displaced after having lived so long in the West. Ben Bracco, my partner, who is a renowned Ghanaian singer-songwriter, will be performing at Panafest and accompanies me on my journey of rediscovery. Ghana is the widely accepted birthplace of Pan-Africanism, and on the eve of the official opening of Panafest 94, the Holocaust of the slave trade is commemorated at Cape Coast Castle, one of the many forts built to incarcerate our African kith and kin who perished during the slave trade. To those cast across the Atlantic, I am a part of that living testimony and sordid experience.
It's difficult to say what did you enjoy the most, because one of the marvellous things about Panafest is its diversity. And you know, what we're trying to say often is that as Africans, we're not homogenous. We have varied cultural traditions, religions, practices, different political systems. And the thing about Panafest is that in terms of culture, there are so many different experiences that you can participate in, or in fact see, but that this event is more than an event, Panafest. It is an institution. It has a spiritual, historical, economic and political significance, and that is made very clear at the Durbar ground. I think it was also important that the traditional leaders were present and in fact opened the ceremony with the marvellous Durbar. And again, that's one of the biggest gatherings one will see of our traditional leaders. And I think it gives us as Ghanaians an opportunity to remember who we are and to think closely about who we are, particularly as Panafest is an institution that places Ghana very much on the world stage.
Ghanaian culture is deeply rooted in chieftaincy, and only the chiefs and important people are being carried in what are known as palanquins. Ghana can be described as a land of festivals, music and traditional dances, and the festivals have many ramifications: religious, socio-economic, cultural and political, which are often held to express appreciation to the deity for good harvest and for a successful year. But festivals can also provide occasions for reflection and merrymaking.
It was also good to see that the organisers had attempted to ensure that the various delegations that had come from abroad were clearly represented at the Durbar ground. Women were in evidence in key positions within the Durbar itself, and what was also interesting was that within the colloquium of Panafest, the issue of gender and culture was discussed. And also it was interesting to note that there was a good balance of female speakers and also of female artists, which again is important and is something that we have not achieved in the West.
I have the singular honor and privilege to declare Panafest 94 duly open. Thank you very much.
To the Ghanaian, music, dance and drama are three virtually inseparable media of emotional expression. The rhythmic throbbing of the drums and percussions and the verbal expression of the songs create music that triggers of the Ghanaian into spontaneous dramatic expression in the form of dance. Music, dance and drama is found virtually in every aspect of the Ghanaian life, in happiness or sorrow. This traditional Royal Asante dance, the Adwa, expresses the greatness, wisdom and richness of their ancestry. After the emotional experience of the opening ceremony at Panafest, my partner Ben and myself decided that today would be the perfect opportunity to delve back into the past to retrace the steps of my ancestors, and where no better place to start than Elmina Castle. The castle, which was completed by the Portuguese in 1482 in their quest for gold, but later Europeans traded in the obnoxious traffic of human beings. Despite these horrors, Elmina has a thriving community, fishing port and marketplace, with a busy harbour full of colourful canoes. Fishing is an essential part of village life, which is steeped in traditions involving the small gods, who are mostly associated with nature, deriving their powers from the supreme being. During a period called the Bakatoon, homage is paid to these gods to ensure a fruitful fishing harvest. While the men are skilled fishermen, women are renowned for their trading, buying and selling of fresh fish. Fish and other produce are then sold in a thriving marketplace, popular with both locals and tourists. The local drink sold by these women consists of brown sugar and corn. The ice keeps it cool under the blazing sun. Within the hustle and bustle of the marketplace, food is on offer for the hungry shoppers and traders. This young woman uses palm leaves to expertly wrap rice and stew. While for the less hungry, there is fun and games to be had around the roulette wheel.
What I found rather disturbing was the fact that Elmina Castle, on the seaside as it is, on the coastline, had a very brightly lit sign advertising Elmina Pleasure Beach. And I just drew the analogy with Auschwitz having a fun fair on its grounds. It just seemed inappropriate that, you know, or in Congress, that the two things could actually come together. It was a very emotional experience visiting Elmina Castle, because obviously the history of a lot of diasporan people is linked to what would have taken place there. A lot of diasporan people's ancestors would have come through those channels, and so that makes it even more emotional.
The men came out from the tunnel at some distance to join the women, and from the shore, the captains will be taken by boat to join ship to the Americas and the Caribbean towards there. Their farm produce like tobacco, cotton, sugar were taken to feed the industries in Europe. So it became a triangular trade from Europe to West Coast to America, then to Europe. And some of the Americans have the origin. Our women were here, a set of 150 women here, another set of 150 women there, and that the gateway to America and the Caribbean. Otherwise, you're at the point of no repair. When the ship arrived, the men came out to join the women. This door will be open. The captives will be taken by smaller boats to join ship to America and the Caribbean to work there. Let me open it for you. The point of no return.
My most striking memory was all the posters. I stayed in a place called Mamprobi, and from there we travelled to Accra and back and different places. And I suppose my most striking memory was the amount of full-length, big, coloured posters there are of a Jesus with blonde hair, straight nose, fine features, just everywhere. I just find that absolutely incredible.
Parvati's funeral parlour at Teshnungwa is just outside of Accra, signifying to me that Christianity never completely destroyed traditional religious beliefs, as is evident by these beautifully crafted handmade coffins, which can be selected depending upon your professional status in life. For example, a rich man might select this Mercedes-Benz. My grandfather, a chief in his village of Insutu, was given a tremendous send-off, and the whole affair lasted 3 days. The wake-keeping on Friday night consisted of friends and relatives weeping and calling out his name as they filed around his bed. The burial and funeral celebration was on the Saturday, and on Sunday the final memorial. In Ghanaian traditional religion, the belief is that death is not the end of one and only the physical body is affected. The soul goes to land of spirits, which then enables the dead to watch over the affairs of the earthly world. I also attended a funeral celebration with my aunt, although not on such a grand scale as my grandfather's. Here a band played joyous music, while money was collected and property shared out amongst the children of the deceased. Funerals demonstrate the diversity within Ghanaian culture. It's a nice feeling to know that whilst one's death will be mourned, one's life will also be celebrated. After a tiring day, my thoughts are already on tomorrow's schedule, where my partner will be preparing for his performance at Cape Coast Theatre. As Ben pretties himself for the night's performance, we chatted about the benefits of Panafest for people like myself.
I think that for them it's very, very meaningful and important in the sense that they get to experience some of the roots, their own roots, you know, the cultural roots, and begin to understand some of their own instincts and behavioral patterns and stuff like that, you know. And at least they begin to appreciate the richness of their own ancestry and past and culture. So it's very, very important for them, because a lot of them have sort of been cut off, and within the context of their society have not been able to have not been impressed about, you know, the stature of their culture, of their personalities, you know, where they emanate from, where they come from, you know, and that kind of thing, you know. So this is very important in helping them to see who they are and believe, be much more confident about, you know, their basis.
What is the relationship between Ghanaian culture and high life?
Well, high life music has become more or less synonymous with Ghanaian culture, but then, you know, you have to remember that high life music itself is a fusion. It has its origins in, you know, some jazz, calypso, and other forms of foreign music that was introduced. You know, you have to remember that, like, the sort of instrumentation used in high life, especially when you use things like horns and stuff, you know, these are not traditional instruments, so they cannot necessarily be, you know, traditional music, okay? So straight away that brings about foreign influences. But it has been adapted you know, so well that, you know, it's a distinctive type of music now, and it's more or less synonymous with Ghanaian culture.
Ben's performance went well, but as this is the only second Panafest, it hasn't been without its organisational problems.
The first Panafest we had, that was in 1992, was centralized. It was more focused, and all the activities were happening in one area. Whereas with the Panafest of 1994, it was a bit dispersed, and various activities were happening simultaneously at different cities.
Events were cancelled, but not, you know, no notification, and things changed, and there just didn't seem to be the opportunity to have things communicated around the way possibly it might be possible here because of technological advancement and opportunity.
Despite some of these problems, Kitty Fest, which was held in the capital Accra, was a huge success, promoting awareness of history and culture, such as the Kente design, which is integral to Ghanaians.
I find the colours very stimulating, and the designs were very beautiful. They complemented each other very well. I understand that certain designs and colours, a combination of, belong to certain specific, they have specific meaning.
The art of weaving was encouraged in the mid-18th century by Opoku-Ware, king of Asante. The basic colours of red, yellow, greens, blues and black are used. Today, although a good craftsperson can weave as much as 9 feet of strip in one day, it takes months for a piece of cloth to be completed. As Panafest draws to a close, we embark on the road back to Accra for Christmas. The Kumasi Road is famous for its trading of fresh produce, and as you can see, the trading is still done mostly by women. You'll also find that the goods are much cheaper than in the city markets. But the markets are an essential stop for exploration and a good old rummage for those wonderful arts and crafts bargains. After the expected bartering, I bought these 2 pictures carved from wood to take back with me to London. Before we left Kumasi, we bid our farewells and collected messages for relatives back home.
Give them 2 kisses for me.
2 kisses, okay.
We wish them all happy New Year.
Okay, that's great, thank you. The next day in Accra, we arrived at Uncle Jimmy's just in time to see the Kaka Motobi, the traditional Christmas dancers and singers. Christmas was much like it would be in London, except of course for the great weather.
That's quite good.
The turkey was huge and delicious. The company was wonderful and a great time was had by all. Sipping my wine, I felt totally at peace with the world and reflected back over my journey to Ghana. It is difficult to summarize the highlight of my journey, but if pushed, I would have to say it was the coming together of different peoples at the cultural events of Panafest. Not only did it give me great pleasure, it also signifies the re-emergence of African civilization.
It was seeing people, how people live, how the indigenous people live. As I said before, nothing quite prepares you for what you actually experience in terms of how we've been educated to believe that life is.
I think Panafest represents an important forum for discussion and also for children and young people to share ideas and to see our cultural inheritance.
Well, I would say the highlight of this visit to Ghana will probably be the show at the beach in Takoradi, because this is, in the first place, it's an annual event that I always participate in. In the second place, Takoradi happens to be like the home base of the origins of my music. And I think, you know, I'm more popular in Takoradi in the central and western regions than anywhere else in the country. So I do get a very, very big crowd there.